The Cellar Evolution. How do things change as a business? How do we grow?
Today on Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, we are going to welcome Malcolm Saunders of the Light Cellar to tell us all about how the Light Cellar has grown. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, where we explore the transformative powers of holistic health practices and real-life practicality. I'm Robin Devine, and I'm inviting you on a journey towards radiant well-being and inner harmony.
Welcome back to Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, where we have one more episode with Malcolm Saunders of the Light Cellar. And today we want to talk to you about what is next for the Light Cellar.
It's true. What's next? It could be that the cookie crumbles. It goes either way.
Yeah.
It worked.
Robin is sitting here enjoying her cookie from the Light Cellar.
I know. And that's the whole thing is that, we've talked already sort of where things started, etc. And while I'm eating this cookie, we're going to go and learn about what's next. So what's the evolution of what the Light Cellar is going to be, or I think it's like the cellular evolution. So what's up next?
Yeah, for sure. Well, right now I'm deeply immersed in the path of foraging, bringing more wild local foods that I've personally hand harvested or gone out with a group and picked and collected. So we're going to see more and more of that getting integrated. And I get asked all the time about south locations, second locations, franchising, this kind of thing. And I don't want to ever emphatically state I will never franchise, but I'm much more closer to that than I am, opening up 10 stores. I'd rather just focus on one, do one really well, and small is beautiful. To me, I value this business started as a lifestyle business. I love the life that it's created for me and for those involved, and I'd rather keep that and do it really well than get overwhelmed with multiple locations. So we'll kind of keep going as we are, with our kind of one destination store in the Northwest.
I'll drive. I think that's the one thing people don't realize is that when you're a niche, and when you have that sort of, customer base, they are willing to drive. We had the same thing.
Yeah.
And people would drive, and it's a smart move.
It's a journey, it's a destination. I mean, you think of other successful businesses like IKEA, Lee Valley, right? They're only one, they might be in other cities, but it's kind of one per city versus one on every corner. So really committed to kind of maintaining the integrity, the quality of what we're doing and the offering. I could see us potentially maybe having kind of an out of town. Maybe it's this wouldn't be the name, but we give you an idea of exactly what it would be, like Light Cellar Acres, something like that, where it's just, again, further down this rabbit hole of connecting more deeply with the land, sourcing our food from the land, producing food, that type of thing.
So, but you were saying foraging is kind of sort of the next big thing, which I think, a lot of people, I'll say, well, why don't we look at some sort of local things too? And people always go, well, what can you really forage?
Right, exactly.
In Canada,
Do you have classes? Can you teach us how to forage?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Actually, I'm teaching one tomorrow night. I've got 2 this week. We're taking people out. We'll do sometimes in the city just to kind of show what's around. Obviously, we're not really harvesting when we're in the city, but it's more of a demonstration of just opening eyes and minds to what the potentials are. And then we will also get out of the city and we'll spend days, not days, but hours, out in the woods or out in the fields, learning about what is available year round. It's not just the spring, even though there's an abundance in spring and summer. One can be harvesting one's own food and medicine, year round.
But what do you forage?
Okay.
So I just want to say, before you get into that, I went on a foraging or plant walk with you in Red Creek. I took my 2 daughters, and I can't even, we still talk about it to this day. When we're hiking, my girls will go, oh, remember, we can eat that. Mr. Malcolm said we can eat that. And they'll pick it up, and they'll smell it, and they'll touch it. And they remember. It's really, I think it's very cool. The whole family can go on these walks and learn something and take something from it. Yeah. And we also went into this field where I would have walked right over them, but there was all these tiny little strawberries all over the place. And it was my kids were whoa, this was so great. And so I think that, your courses are undervalued from an everyday local person could learn so much. And I am personally, always thinking about what's going to happen when the apocalypse comes. So I need to know what I can eat, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, berries, and oftentimes that's a great kind of gateway people get in. Like it's maybe one of the only wild foods they've ever had, going out picking, whether it's blueberries or raspberries or blackberries or Saskatoons, with their grandparents. But yeah, there's a world beyond that as well. I think conifers, spruce, one of the most, you can go down any street in Calgary, you're going to find a spruce tree. Spruce is amazing in terms of what it produces. The needles themselves, especially the young growing spruce tips, super high in vitamin C, great for respiratory complaints like cold and flu season. We can get into the pollens, which are extremely nutritious. Most people know about bee pollen, but of course bee pollen is only so nutritious because the bees are going and gathering, flower pollens from everywhere that they do, and the conifer pollens are very nutritious, and they're actually have a great hormonal effect, hormone balancing. They can help increase testosterone. They're amazing that way.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that, and I went home and I was telling my husband that we just need to shake the tree base and you're gonna have more testosterone. He's like, okay, whatever you say, witchy woman. Yeah. So what about new products that you guys are developing? I know I've been to the Light Cellar. You have this very shiny, coppery, machiney thing that looks like
that's right.
Something that would be in a chemistry lab.
Yeah.
What is it, and what kind of products are you making, and is there new stuff coming out?
That's my favorite description you've ever done. Shiny, brassy thingy. Okay, go.
Totally. So it's a copper alembic still, and it comes from Portugal. It's handmade, and from these you can create what are called hydrosols. It's also the process to create essential oils, but we leave the essential oils in the water, hence the name hydrosol, a solution in water of all these kind of aromatic plant qualities. So you can take and you can distill lavender, you can distill spruce, you can distill frankincense, just about anything into these aromatic waters that can be used topically. So something like rose is very good for the skin. It's toning, it's tightening, it can reduce redness, it can be very cooling. You can also add them to recipes. Elixir, you want a little boost of rose, you want a little splash of pine, you want anything kind of flavor-wise, just adding in these hydrosols does that. But you can also use them aromatically, the idea of a smokeless smudge. So I have a native friend who works a lot in kind of hospitals, hospice, care facilities, and him doing his kind of ceremonies typically involves smudge or sweetgrass, and the smoke, it's always such an issue, but now he just comes in with the hydrosols, water-based, it has that same effect, that upliftment, that clearing, that grounding, depending on the particular plant. They're amazing for just transforming the energy, of a room or one's own person just by a little spritz and a spray. So we've been working a lot with hydrosols through the copper still.
The coppery thingy.
Yeah.
Copper thingy. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, if you have to work with something, it might as well look good while you're doing it.
It's an art form, right? Yeah, and it's one expression of plant medicine. And this is kind of what I pair with the teaching about learning about what's in our ecosystem, what's growing, is how do we work with it? Okay, sure, conifers, pine, spruce, these types of things, even narrowing it down to just the needles or just the resin. So how do we take that and turn it into something kind of functional, useful? Well, it turns out it's much easier to learn that than it is to learn, about the herbs, because there's so many different herbs with so many different properties and actions, so on and so forth. But you can really only work with them in maybe about a dozen ways. That's teas, obviously, is very common, but there's nuance to tea, and then there's tinctures, and then there's salves, using oil mediums, there's extracting it in vinegar. All these different methods are really about the ability to extract, preserve, and deliver the medicinal properties.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, now we need to circle right back to the very beginning, and you started the Light Cellar with chocolate.
Right.
So
true.
What's coming next for the chocolate? That's...
Yeah, well, every month we're coming up with, chocolate, the creativity is just unlimited. So every month we've got some sort of, special seasonal bar, and it's a lot of fun, whether it's, kind of a white chocolate base, a milk chocolate base, which we might use high quality dairy, or we'll use something alternative like coconut, try and, reach all the palates, all the different kind of dietary preferences. Of course, dark chocolate we love as well. We're making that from scratch, and it's unlimited what you can put into chocolate as this delivery system for good food, good nutrition.
So Malcolm, I want to send more of my clients to the Light Cellar, I want more people to get into your store, how can they find you?
Yeah, they can go to lightcellar.ca, LIGHTCELLAR. They can also visit it in Bowness along the old Main Street, 6531 Bowness Road.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. We've appreciated your time, and the last 4 episodes have been amazing, and we can't wait for what's going to come next for the Light Cellar, and hopefully you'll come back and join us again sometime.
Would love to. Thanks for having me.
And obviously I need another cookie, so
yeah.
I'm here for the Light Cellar too.
Until next time, thank you for joining us on Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness. As we conclude another enriching episode of Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, remember to embrace that journey towards optimal health with open hearts and minds. I'm Megan Barefoot, urging you to step boldly into your wellness journey. Until we meet again, stay vibrant.